Shesterkin shuts out the Pittsburgh Penguins. Rangers win it 3-0, and the Rangers really played very well against the Penguins this season. Sidney Crosby didn't play in this game. He was sick, non-COVID illness, as well as John Marino. And Evgeny Malkin did miss one of the games in this season series. With that all being said, Pittsburgh only scored 4 goals in 4 games against the Rangers, 3 of them on the power play, and then 1 goal non-power play by Brian Boyle. That's what we're talking about here. So obviously the playoffs can be completely different, but if you're a Ranger fan, you have to be feeling pretty good about this matchup. And you could tell by the end of the game, Pittsburgh was very frustrated. And Igor has really been a big reason for that frustration, as the Penguins just really haven't been able to solve him. And the Rangers now find themselves 2 points behind the Carolina Hurricanes for the lead in the Metropolitan Division. Carolina does have a game in hand, but what's interesting is that the Rangers play Carolina twice in their remaining 10 games, 2 of them at home. So really, they control their own destiny as far as whether they will finish first in this division. And while I think that'd be a great accomplishment, and I'll certainly be rooting for them in those games against Carolina, I have to say that the prospect of potentially playing like a Tampa Bay Lightning team in round 1 isn't exactly one that inspires much confidence. Whereas the Rangers playing the Penguins, who they seem to be playing well against, that would be preferred at this point. So it definitely leads to an interesting discussion. Whereas for a while, this had been Carolina in first clearly. Rangers and Penguins were battling it out and very close. Now the Rangers have increased that to 6 points over Pittsburgh. And the Capitals seem to have been kind of well out of this sort of 3-team non-wild card race in the division. And Washington now finds themselves 6 points behind Pittsburgh with 2 games in hand. So 1 through 4, it's tightening up. And I'll just say if the Rangers can finish in second and host ideally Pittsburgh, although Washington, it's tough to say if it became them. I just think that either of those teams is probably a better opponent for the Rangers than maybe someone from the Atlantic Division, even though the Rangers have had success there. But that will definitely be a storyline for the last 10 games of the season. This game did get chippy towards the end as the Rangers did sustain an injury. Tyler Motte, it looked like it was a shoulder injury. Now, he does have a history of concussions, but the way he was skating off the ice, it looked like it was a shoulder injury, as Anthony Angelo, he was called for interference. The hit looked worse than it actually was, although Gallant after the game thought it should have been more than that. But that kind of led to everything happening after. But Motte, it didn't look very good. Gallant had no update after the game, but hopefully with the playoffs about 4 weeks away, you like to think that in a worst case scenario, maybe Motte is still able to come back when it counts. And then again, that leads to the idea of hopefully Kakko or Rooney returning soon. And I was hopeful to see this lineup fully healthy, besides Sammy Blais, fully healthy, and to see what they could do. But I just, maybe good news will come from Tyler Motte, but don't expect to see him in the near future based on the looks of it. But as far as the game was concerned, the Rangers, I thought they played a really strong game, and really for a team that's had some maybe poor first periods, slow starts, they got off to a pretty good start, and it was a pretty fast pace, not a whole lot of stoppages in the first. Although early, Jacob Trouba was called for elbowing Jake Gensel. Speaking of defense, the Rangers scratched Justin Braun. So even though he scored his first goal as a Ranger and played pretty well against the Devils, I kind of had a feeling that there was a chance that Nemeth would draw back into the lineup, and he did. And it goes back to, I think that they really want to have left-handed defensemen and right-handed defensemen, not 2 righties. So I think unless Nemeth really struggles, he's going to be in the lineup, I think, in most cases. I really think Braun's best path to be in the lineup would be if Schneider struggles. That's just kind of my opinion. I like Schneider more than Nemeth personally, but I don't know. And I think that one way or another, through injury and Braun will be in the lineup in key spots, I think, in the playoffs. but I just don't know if they really want to have Braun with Schneider, and that's too bad. But I mean, Nemeth, I guess, has been decent lately, so you can't complain. Forward lines were the same going into this game. So again, Trouba takes that penalty, and the Rangers penalty kill did a really nice job in this game. They kill that one off. And then Trouba actually draws a penalty as Raquel trips him. And that was a really bad power play by the Rangers. They got nothing going at all. Penguins have a really good penalty kill. And so nothing comes of it, and we leave the first period scoreless. And the Rangers, who have had a propensity for giving up goals at the start of periods, they get one 24 seconds into the second on a goal by Frank Vatrano, his 16th goal of the season, including his time with the Panthers, assisted by Zibanejad and Kreider. And this is a play where both goals the Rangers scored, not empty net goals, the Rangers scored, were very similar, where the right defenseman, in this case Fox, kind of flips it over to the left side, and Kreider was able to, gain the zone, and Zibanejad with some good work and finds Vatrano, and Frank Vatrano in these games against the Penguins, he scored in each one of them. And he has been a really solid addition, someone who is getting a lot more ice time than he did with the Panthers in what is a stacked team, to no fault of his own. And now that line seems to really have some pretty solid chemistry. And out of all the lines, that one definitely to me seems like one that won't be broken up anytime soon. Could there be some mid-game adjustments and things like that? Sure. But I think that's one where I think they got it right. And Vatrano has really been a very good Ranger to this point. And so he gets the Rangers that 1-0 lead. And the Rangers would keep going. And at about halfway through the second, it would be a similar situation where Jacob Trouba, in this case, is able to get it over to his former teammate in Winnipeg, Andrew Kopp, and Kopp finds Artemi Panarin, who is able to backhand a really nice goal past Tristan Jarry, his 20th goal of the season. Of course, Kopp and Trouba with the assists, and it gives the Rangers a 2-0 lead. And I think with that line, with Strome, considering Panarin and Kopp, very good offensively. Defensively, I think that there could be some struggles there, although Kopp is someone that is – Kopp is someone who is relied upon defensively, and even though I don't think Strome is great defensively, he is someone that does kill penalties as well, so you wouldn't think it'd be so bad. But in this one, I noticed that they were struggling a little bit on that end, but no harm, no foul. And they get a really nice goal. And Panarin's been really solid lately. I think with Kopp, there's been some very good chemistry where they've been trying to find a third member of that line. There was hope that maybe somehow Kakko could fill that spot when he came back, but it seems like Andrew Kopp has kind of run with it. So expect that to stay for a while. And so the Rangers had that 2-0 lead, and they would keep that going into the third. And the Rangers have been very good at protecting these leads. They only have one regulation loss which was against the Panthers when leading after two. And the Rangers would get outshot 13-6 in the third. Pittsburgh, gave it their best, and Shesterkin was really in the zone in this one. You could tell early that he looked good, looked sharp after, some recent games in which I think he'd be the first to admit that he should have done better. It wasn't all on him. I think the team wasn't playing well, but I think Igor was slipping a little bit, and this was just a great bounce back to get this shutout, and he was really strong in the third. And the Penguins had a couple of power plays. Jacob Trouba interferes with Evgeny Malkin, but the Rangers penalty kill does a great job. And then at 12:37 is where you get the Anthony Angelo interference penalty on Tyler Motte. And that was definitely controversial at the time. And I think some could argue there should have been a penalty at all. Some, even though I don't really agree with it, argue that it should have been more than that. I think you fall in the middle. I think a 2-minute penalty is fair. And but unfortunately, Motte didn't look great went straight to the locker room, and he didn't come back. So the Rangers don't score on that power play, and then Johnny Brodzinski is called for a hooking penalty. But again, the Ranger penalty kill does the job. And then before that power play was out, Barclay Goodrow and Evgeny Malkin go at it. So it's very easy to get under Malkin's skin. We've seen this time and time again with him, and Goodrow was kind of just laughing and having fun with it. And Goodrow, the good thing about him is he's not afraid to get into the fight. He definitely seems like an annoying player to go up against, and someone that, come playoff time will definitely be effective in that type of role. So the Rangers are able to kill off the remainder of that Brodzinski penalty, and eventually they would seal it with a Dryden Hunt empty net goal, his 5th goal of the season, and an assist to Zibanejad. So Zibanejad gets 2 assists on the night. And at the end of the game, more fisticuffs. And the Penguins, I don't really understand why they just didn't leave the ice. They were pretty frustrated. I just think at the results, I'm not really sure why. You don't really see that too often, especially in the regular season. Eventually they would leave, and it was funny, Igor kind of waving them bye-bye. But I think that this team is definitely very frustrated by what the Rangers are doing to them. Even that 1-0 loss to the Penguins earlier in the season, the Rangers played a pretty good game. Definitely it was the Rangers' worst of the 4, regardless of the result. But I think that the Rangers have to be feeling good with this matchup, and the playoffs can be completely different. But based on what we've seen from Pittsburgh in recent years, it's been a struggle for them. They're a little bit of an older team, but obviously you do have that experience, and that can help. But if Igor can do his job, you'd like to think that he would outplay Jari. So I definitely, as a Ranger fan, welcome this matchup. But with 10 games to go, like I said, a lot can kind of change right now. And the one thing that is pretty certain, and even this, things can change, but Rangers should have home ice in the first round unless they really, really collapse. We'll know that, whether that be first or second. And they do have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh when it comes to regulation wins as well. So we'll see what happens. Rangers' next game is home against Ottawa. And I can see that being a bit of a letdown game off of this kind of emotional Penguin win. And then the game after that is against Carolina, which, of course, that could be for the division. So definitely shouldn't take Ottawa lightly, but I could see that one being a little bit of a struggle based on the way that I've seen this team play this year. And really, it could be Georgiev, it could be Shesterkin. I guess based on the way that they've been going lately, they probably go to Georgiev, but with the Rangers having a back-to-back, Carolina then Philly, you'd expect Shesterkin to get the Carolina game and then Georgiev Philly. So knowing that, maybe Igor gets the Ottawa game. But like I said, I think they likely go back to Georgiev, and we'll see what if there's any word on Tyler Motte's injury. And if somehow, I don't think it's going to happen, but they keep on saying Kakko and Rune are getting closer, but they haven't been involved in team practice. So we'll see what lineup changes happen. But again, Rangers with a really impressive win, and the story, Igor Shesterkin, as he stops all 30 Penguin shots in a Ranger 3-0 victory at Madison Square Garden.